Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyler Hyde. I'm the brand strategy manager of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. I just want to thank you all so much for joining us today to learn more about the Bee's newest educational partner, News-O-Matic. News-O-Matic is a digital news platform for K through 8 students, and we are so very excited to be partnering with them this year to bring exclusive content and a great offer to schools that are enrolled with the Bee. So in today's webinar, I'll be joined by a member of the News-O-Matic team who will give us an overview of the organization and do a special demo of the platform for us. And then I will jump back in to share where you can find News-O-Matic content, as well as the link to redeem your offer within the school portal at spellingbee.com. Now, with all of that in mind, before we get into the content of today's webinar, I would love to get a sense of who you are and your current relationship with our two different brands. So I am going to start a poll for us right now. So you should be seeing that available to you in just a moment. We have two questions for you today. So first of all, what is your role? Which role best defines you? So we have a couple different ones there, whether a classroom educator or an administrator at either the elementary or the middle/junior high school levels. And then I did leave an other there. So if you have a role that's a little different, please feel free to select that one. And we'd love to hear more about it in the chat as well. And then the second question basically is, where did you hear about this webinar? So are you subscribed to News-O-Matic, enrolled with the Bee, maybe both, maybe you aren't subscribed to either program for this year yet, and hopefully this webinar will show you all the reasons that you should be. So we'll give just a couple minutes for, or a couple seconds, I mean, for last couple responses to come in here. Thank you so much. This is just going to help us kind of get a sense of where you all are before we dive into the content. All right, I'm going to give it just another second. We got a couple people still. All right. Great. So let's look at those results. Okay, lots of classroom educators. And it looks like a good mix between elementary and middle school, which is exciting. We've got 25% of you are educators in the classroom at the middle/junior high school level. So I think that is fantastic. We find that that's the sweet spot of our national competitors. So, and then 50% of you said other. So I would love to know in the chat, what does other mean? And then let's see, we have 83% are currently subscribed to the Scripps National Spelling Bee for this year. Thank you so much. I'll show you your school portal in just a moment. And then 17% said neither yet. So that's very exciting. Hopefully you will learn a lot in this webinar and we will get you enrolled and subscribed into News-O-Matic for this next year. All right. All right, let's look through these responses really quickly. Oh, okay. Librarians, great. PTA volunteer helping with the middle school's first spelling bee. That's so exciting. Gifted and talented, guidance counselor. Okay, great. Those are all wonderful. Thanks for sharing a little bit more in the chat with us. Okay. That was incredibly helpful. I appreciate it. We'll keep all of that in mind as we're going through the content today. And then one final note before I ask our guests to join us, you can use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen at any point during this webinar to send us some questions. So we will take hopefully about 10 minutes at the end of today to answer those live for you. So great. So I am now going to turn it over to Brandon Cohen. He is the Chief Partnership Officer for News-O-Matic, and we're very excited to have him join us today. So Brandon, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler. And we are so honored to be working with Scripps. And so thank you for having us here today. Absolutely thrilled to see everybody here. We're excited to talk to you about News-O-Matic and the impact that we're making in education. And we're making that impact because of educators like you. And it's constantly listening to you and having an understanding of what you need, what you want your students to feel and listen to when they get the news, and they want to read nonfiction. So again, thank you for having us be a part of this, Tyler. And let's show you News-O-Matic. Let's jump right in here. So I'm going to click on the share screen right now. Make sure I'll share my sound as well. So now what you're going to be able to see within News-O-Matic is, first of all, what is News-O-Matic, right? And why the tie to the spelling bee and everything that we're going to be able to see within this. So News-O-Matic, we provide 5 daily nonfiction articles Monday through Friday, over 16,000 articles that we've been able to produce over the last 12 plus years of providing educational content, right? And we have done so many articles on the spelling bee. That's where the really the partnership came about. Is we saw that, hey, look at the ability of what the spelling bee is doing with Scripps and what News-O-Matic can be able to do to provide those daily news and that nonfiction and especially that engagement that educators are looking for. So if you're looking right now, what you're going to be able to see within this is you're going to be able to see as we go on to News-O-Matic here. It's here are your 5 articles that you have in, okay? So this is the first screen they're going to be able to see. So you're going to be able to see as we go on to this, there's going to be a theme. We can do primary or secondary as we do this. So if we wanted to look at primary, for example, you're going to notice a little bit of a different look, a little more brighter. You're going to see Newsy here. Newsy's dressed up in a zombie mask as we see here. If we wanted this to be a bit of a higher level, right, we can change the theme to be secondary. So you as whether you're a parent, a teacher, an educator, administrator, you choose on how that student, what that field wants to be. They can even change it. If they want more of a sophisticated look in there, they can choose this. If they want more of a fun feel, they can choose, that primary view, however they want to. But let's jump into an article first of all, before, as we go into this. And so this is today's edition, and this will be good up till 5 o'clock. Every morning, we are the only ones in K through 8 right now that are producing daily nonfiction news, and we have our own editorial team that are doing that. So we have anywhere between 4 to 6 writers that are working on this consistently. They meet between 9:30 and 10 every morning to see what articles, what news has popped up. And then we produce those articles between 9 and 5. A lot of educators, a lot of administrators, students can't believe that we're able to do that. But we're able to do that in multiple Lexile levels as well, right? So as we look at this article, and we're looking at this from a teacher's view, as we can see here, we can see that we can adjust this article based on where that student is at in terms of that Lexile level. And so let me just show you the spectrum of what that looks like. So if we wanted to look at a 440, notice how we look at this now, and the paragraphs are going to change. They're going to be a lot simpler. The wording isn't going to be nearly as advanced. And if we go all the way up to a 980, and we often have articles that are going to be available, in the up to that 1300, 1400 range, in that range there. We can see now, notice how the difference of the paragraphs become quite more, quite developed on there. The wording becomes much more advanced on there. But if, for example, a student struggles with any of those words, they simply click on that.
Astronomer.
And it actually reads that word to them. Not only that, but it'll give them the definition of that, right? So that's one of the things that they can do right away as students are as they're going into this. The other thing is, this is really made for the engagement of students, right? So as we look at this, how can we make sure that students are engaged in nonfiction? Because oftentimes we hear nonfiction, we hear, oh, they've got to go to an encyclopedia, or they got to go to a textbook to be able to learn about a war or space or whatever they might be into that specific day, right? What they're going to find, though, is you can sit there and see, here are some questions, for example, that our team puts together for those individual students. So you're going to see those questions are going to be leveled based on the level of the article. And what do I mean by that? So if I go to a 600 article, we go to questions. Now you're going to see more multiple choice questions. Okay. We go to that higher level, like you just seen, you're going to see more open-ended questions. And you, as the educator or parent or whoever that might be, you can adjust those questions as the level changes for them. But again, how do we make sure we get that engagement level high? How do we make sure that we get something that students want to be able to read here? So here's a fact and an act that students are going to be able to do. Here's a slideshow. This is great for your visual learners, right? So your learners that really want to be able to see, what is happening with News-O-Matic as we're going through that. And then you can sit there and see, here's a video, for example, right? So here's in this video, you're going to be able to see this is going to be captioned for the students to be able to read. But again, it's super engaging. This is for that YouTube generation that you want to be able to see. And this isn't going to be something that you're going to have to hold your breath, go, oh my gosh, what's going to pop up on this video? This has already been vetted by our team. And we actually have a child psychologist on staff that we can bring any articles or any content. For example, if we had like, with the Ukraine and Russia war that's happening in there, if we feel like, hey, is that something that's going to cause anxiety within students, we can bring it to a child psychologist, and then she can review it and make sure that classroom make sure that article is appropriate, right? So those types of things that are going to be available for them to be able to use. One of the coolest things is too, you're going to see 6 different languages that you're going to find available within News-O-Matic. And I want you to hear what this sounds like. So for example, if we click on Spanish, look at the change now within that Spanish, right? So that article not only adjust and change, but if we click read to me here.
Un planeta hambriento crece sin parar. Científicos descubren un planeta que come muy rápido.
How cool is that? That's an actual person that's reading. We hire an actor or actress and basically find the most neutral in terms of language that we possibly can at News-O-Matic here. And they can translate that for those students. So you're not getting the computerized voice, so to speak, and you're not going to be wondering, okay, is this actually accurate or not, right? So it makes it really cool for them to be able to have that and to have that availability in those 6 different languages. I want to do English for you just to show that, for example, and I'm going to click read to me here.
Hungry planet growing fast. Scientists discover a rogue planet eating at a record rate. Our Earth doesn't change much, yet younger planets.
Okay, so you're able to see there, what does that look like, right? And what does that sound like, right? And that student can bring this article really to life by just simply clicking that read to me and follow along, right? To take that to the next level though, anytime your students might have issues on there, right? Any type, like for example, if we have a student that has ADHD, I want you to watch what happens here when I turn this on under this individual article. Look what they can do now. It can actually underline for that student. So now when they click read to me, they can just simply follow along. Helps that student hone in, it helps them focus in, and helps them in those disabilities that they might be able to have within there, right? You're also going to be able to, as you're the student or you can go in there, we can change this to bright, high contrast. We can change this to high saturation. We can do the colors. We can make the font bigger. We can magnify this, right? So if I wanted to magnify this to make it easier or change the font, again, how can we make sure that we're meeting students of all levels, right? And by having this accessibility tool in there, that's exactly what it can do, right? So it makes it really easy for you to be able to access that information in there. Talk about interactive. Okay, this is one of my favorite tools within News-O-Matic that we have in here, is the world map, right? So if I click on this, you have the cool little airplane sound that goes in here. You can see here, I'm actually in North Carolina right now. So you can see all it's doing, by the way, it's picking up my IP address. So you don't have to worry, are we keeping student information? How is that doing? No, we're just going off IP address. This is going to tell you where the country is. So this is in Chile. And then you can be able to see here how many miles away this is, the flying time, how many telescopes. If
The
I were to click
official language of Chile is Spanish.
Hola.
That's how people say hello in Spanish.
right? So it's going to teach you how to say hello in that country of where that article in there. And then for your younger kids is the fun fact that they can click on as well as they go through this. Okay. So not only that, but you can come in here and you can highlight, they can save, they can print this article off. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like really quickly there. But you can see there what that article is going to look like. And they can come in here and rate this. So this is a good gauge for us to know, hey, are we connecting with students or not? So if they come in there and say yes, we get a cool sound like that. If they say nope, right, we get that sound. And then that sends to us, and then we know whether this article is successful, and it gives us a good gauge to make sure that we know that we're providing what educators and students are looking for in terms of the writing there. And then this is author, and this is Russ, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Russ down the road. But Russ runs our team of editors within News-O-Matic that we're going to. So the one thing that we had talked about before, though, is really that engagement. And I want you to see here as we go through these past articles, really to focus on these engagement. Now, remember, we created over 16,000 different articles, right? But we're all here for one reason, right? We're here because of the spelling bee and that partnership with Scripps, and it's awesome. So let's just do a quick search here. If the student goes in there and they want to see different articles, or they can sit there and come in here and just simply do a search here on the spelling bee. And now we can sit there and see here are our articles specifically on the spelling bee, and look at this through different time periods, right? So we did this article about the spelling bee champions in 1941 to 1960, right? That you can go in there and understand those. So we can go back in history and see the different articles that were created in there and the different spelling bee winners from that past. We've actually showed them in here. So if you're from one of those areas or anything like that, how cool is that to know that your area was a part of that? And it shows you just, how important this spelling bee has been to our country, right? And the importance of our partnership as well with the spelling bee to make sure that we're honoring the past, right? So you can go in there and be able to see that in there to be able to do this. Now, what you're also going to see in here is active learning. Okay. Now, what makes active learning so great as we go through this? So say, for example, you wanted to share this, you wanted to have a discussion about past learners, about past champions of the spelling bee. Okay. You can either choose a PowerPoint or Google slide. So for example, if I want to click on Google slide as we're going through this, I simply click this. I'm going to allow that in here. And then it's just going to tie my Google account into the spelling bee here. And then look at this. Now you have a full slide that you can learn. So say, for example, you're using this on a smartboard, or you're using this on a, with a projector in your classroom, or you just, you want to share this with students. You're going to see within here, you're going to have student learning objectives. We're going to have discussion questions that we can go in there. And then you're also going to see how to activate prior knowledge within this. You as an educator, because this is available for educators only for this specific portion, you can adjust and change these slides as needed, right? So if you wanted less or more rigor within that, absolutely you can go through that. And so we can sit there and see, we can check for understanding. We can ask questions for those students in there and just look at the graphic organizers that we have put in there. And then we can do a turn and talk. So for example, this article has 23 of these active learning slides that we have. And so you can do that again with PowerPoint. You can do that with Google Slides, however you want to be able to use that. But what a powerful tool to be able to share with your students as you choose if you're an educator in there. You can also come in here, and if there anybody in here that's using Google Classroom as an example, we can simply share this to Google Classroom, okay? And hopefully everybody's seeing that, but you can sit there and see, I can select Mr. Cohen, I can create an assignment here, And then when I'm creating this assignment within this article, you can sit there and see the article is automatically linked. And what makes that great is we actually have a digital token within there. And that digital token actually lets anybody open that article that they wanted to, right? So you don't have to worry about, okay, what students it's going to. All they have to do is send this off with that digital token, and then anybody can open that as they choose, right? So it makes it really easy to use that. If you don't have Google Classroom, no big deal. You're just going to click the article here, and that actually has that token already built in there, right? So if all I have to do is copy and paste this into my web browser, and then that's going to be able to pop up for you and make it really easy, okay? Any schools that are doing standard alignments here, right? You can sit there and come in there and go into News-O-Matic and just search by standard. So depending on where you're at, throughout the country, I'm just going to choose Michigan really quickly. I can choose science or social studies, language arts, SEL, however you want to be able to do that. Let's just do language arts as an example. We're going to choose grade 6, and then I can select up to 3 standards that are going to be available here, right? So as you're looking at this, you can actually see within this all these different standards that we're covering. So I can select up to 3 of these. Once I click on search, you're going to be able to see all of the articles that are going to align specifically with that subject matter, right? For those specific standards, I should say, right? So really easy to align that to your standards, to be able to get that, and to take that to the next step, so to speak. All we have to do then is go into units, okay? So what I want to do is show you here. You're going to be able to see if we can just do a browse in News-O-Matic, but we can also do units as well. So what are the units within this? So we can see we have our featured units that are in this. We have over 160 different units that are going to be in here. And the cool thing was I was just in New York, a couple months ago, and I had a librarian that said, "Hey, Brandon, right now we're struggling to find something recent within ancient civilization. Is there any way that you can find something for us?" And I said, "You know what? That's a great question. Let's see if we can." And so we went in here, into social studies and viewed all of social studies. And she said, I said, "Actually, we have ancient civilization in Greek. We have it in Maya. We have it in Rome. Which one would you be interested in?" She said, "Let's click on ancient civilization in Egypt." And now you're going to be able to see here, look at all these different things. So when you're looking at this, think about how can we make past history relevant today? Right? And that's really what we focus on at News-O-Matic, right? Is how can we do this? So for example, we can go into the king's tomb that was found in Egypt that they're going to find. So this talks about more than 3,500 years ago. And experts found the entrance in the main hallway of the tomb in 2022, right? That the students can go into to be able to see this. But look at this. Now, if we go in here and we click on the video here, you're going to be able to see here.
The discovery by a British archaeologist of his tomb in Egypt's Valley of the Kings in 1922 made Tutankhamun a star more than 3,000 years after his death. Howard Carter needed 6 years of excavations to discover the burial site of the young pharaoh, and when he did, he found it intact. Inside the tomb was a unique treasure, more than 4.
Okay, so hopefully everybody could see that okay with the video that popped up there. But again, super interactive, super, and talks about what they found in there. We can go into a slideshow and be able to see his wife there. Later ruled as Egypt as a queen of what they found. Expert found yellow stars on the plaster in there, right? So, again, making that past history relevant for students in there. I can return to the unit, but we can also see here that a mummy was scanned in Chicago, right? So how cool is it the students, again, can click on a video here, and they're actually able to see how this mummy was scanned, right? How cool is that? So they can actually process that the Chicago Museum went through. The Field Museum in Chicago actually went through to actually scan the museum, scan the mummy, to make sure that it had, that to see what exactly they can learn from it, right? So all of those are going to be available in there, right? That you're going to be able to find within this. And you can see all of the different all the different topics that are going to be available within this. So for example, we go to language arts there and your students are interested, obviously with Halloween around the corner, they might say, hey, I want to learn more about Harry Potter. Here are all the different articles in there. And it makes it a really fun way of being able to kind of group this all together for you in terms of that Harry Potter and in terms of what students are going to be able to find within there, right? Really easy. Your own, for any administrators in there, you can create your own units, right? So for example, this is something that we created for DeKalb County. I don't know if anybody's from Georgia, but in this unit, in grade 5, students are going to learn about September 11th, the growth of America during the 19th century, about the rights and the citizens in there, right? So, you're going to be able to find those interactive articles and just look at all of our past editions that we have in here. Every single day, Monday through Friday, you're going to get 5 brand new articles that you're going to be able to see. And you can see we focus on different things. We focus on really serious things about Israel hostages coming home, the U.S. Navy turning 250 years old, the Peace Prize, but also fun things as well. So the stories ahead that you're going to be able to find here. The girl I am and the change I lead and the international day of the, that was available for that. Right. So see, you can sit there and see the power of News-O-Matic. The other thing that I want to leave you with too is how important it is for our students, again, to make sure that their voices are heard within News-O-Matic, right? That's absolutely critical for us to make sure that, we're hearing what students, so we do contests all the time. So one of the things that we, that we did was with the Women's Hall of Fame, right? And so you can sit there and see here as we do this, and if I just simply put in here, you can sit there and see that we have this available in this. But we can also see here, as I go into this and I do a search on that, all of the different things in there, and you can sit there and see. We did a contest recently with a student in 2024, I believe, that we teamed up with the National Women's Hall of Fame, and they were able to. We were doing a contest on who inspires them that might be a part of that National Women's Hall of Fame. And you can sit there and see this was the winner. That was Stella. Stella got to win that writing contest that was in there. She got to ring the bell at the stock exchange.
The National Women's Hall of Fame is proud to partner with News-O-Matic to share Inspire, a Who Inspires Me essay contest. Challenge young readers to consider the impact of the Women's Hall of Fame inductees. 6th grader, the amazing Stella College from Bohemia, New York, wrote a winning essay about 1998 inductee Florence Wald. Now, Stella.
Here's Stella right here. We can give her a big round of applause.
Thank you to all tonight's inductees.
And after she was done reading her essay, for example, she got standing ovation from everybody. Even the lieutenant governor was in the audience of this, right? So we're really excited because we're going to do some of these cool things with the spelling bee. So if you're really excited about what the spelling bee is doing, we're going to do some contests down the road with them that they're going to be really interactive. And we would love your students and teachers to be a part of this. Just like we got the engagement level with them, we got thousands of entries for that. We're expecting the same thing with the with the spelling bee that we're going to be able to see within there, right? So we are super excited. Again, I can't thank Tyler enough. Tyler, I don't know if I'm at my time or not, but can't thank you enough and can't tell you how excited we are about this partnership, right? And just to see how this thing can evolve and how it can grow. But I did want to leave some time, Tyler, for you and to answer any questions that we might have on News-O-Matic.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are also
Mm.
incredibly excited. And I feel like I learned so much even from your presentation just now. So
Oh, awesome, Tyler.
thank you. Thanks. Okay. And I'm sure we'll have lots of questions at the end. We already have a couple that have come in, so do feel free to throw those into the Q&A button or even into the chat. Some people have thrown them into the chat, and we'll get to them in just a minute. But since since the majority of you are B schools, let me go ahead and share with you how you can get at all the great things Brandon was telling us about. So let me take us to, I'm going to stop your share if you don't mind. There we go.
Yep.
And I'm going to start up my own. Okay. So great. So hopefully you are all familiar with spellingbee.com. Of course, if you haven't yet enrolled your school, I would encourage you to go do that. You can go to our website and click enroll right here. I'm going to show you this really quickly because I know that there are a couple of people still on here who have not subscribed to either the Bee or News-O-Matic yet. So this is where you can find all of the great benefits of Spelling Bee enrollment, including, you see right here, News-O-Matic. We'll get into the offer that is available to all enrolled schools. And I do want to point out here, you can download our educator guide, which also includes some first a profile on our 2025 Educator of the Year, Nikki Montana. And then it also includes a free classroom activity that was developed by News-O-Matic. So we're very excited for that. So if you would like to enroll, you can click enroll your school anywhere on that page. Whoops. Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second. Let me, I am already in my test account, so that is why it is not letting me do that. Let me just go ahead and log in to the other account. Okay, so if you have enrolled with us previously last year, you can go to spellingbee.com and just go ahead and use the username and password that you used last year to enroll. And if you have never enrolled with us before, you can fill in that registration form that will pop up for you and be able to enroll your school that way. And when you have signed in or created an account with us, you will go to this screen and it will show you two options. So if you haven't enrolled, you'll say enroll your school. But if you have, which my test account has, I will click and enter the school portal. So this is where you will be able to find all of the spelling bee materials. I won't go through these today, but you see on the side here, we've got all of the different resources for classroom and school level spelling bees that you can access, your prizes and certificates. But we are going to focus in on our News-O-Matic content. So I'm going to go down here to Word Activities, and there you see it. Bright, beautiful logo. We have one of the articles in here now, and we will be adding more throughout the year. Exclusive articles from News-O-Matic, like Brandon just showed you. And then if you want to access your offer from News-O-Matic, you can do that from this screen as well. So as a reminder, our schools that enrolled in the Scripps National Spelling Bee will receive a free 30-day trial to News-O-Matic. So that's the entire platform that Brandon was just showing you, all of that great content. And then schools that choose to sign on for an annual subscription will receive a 35% discount on that price. So that's a more than $500 value that you're getting just for being enrolled in the Spelling Bee program for this year. So we're really, really excited about it. I am just going to really quickly show you what this looks like. This is the screen. You'll see here our logo, little previews of some of the articles about the Spelling Bee that Brandon showed you. And you're just going to fill out this form. pretty self-explanatory. You'll create a username and password for yourself, and then you will add your school there, whichever school you're affiliated with that is also enrolled with the Scripps National Spelling Bee for this school year, and you'll say register. And that will give you access to that 30-day free trial. And again, you will also then be able to take advantage of that 35% discount on an annual subscription. So we were very excited about that. I do believe that is everything that I wanted to go through really quickly because I want to be sure that we have enough time for our questions. So, Brandon, I am going to start throwing some of these out. Most of them so far pertain to News-O-Matic, but if you have any questions about anything that Brandon just showed you, the partnership with the bee, anything spelling bee related, please do feel free to throw them into the Q&A. Brandon and I will do our best to answer them, and if there's anything that we can't, we'll follow up with you. So let's see. I have one question from let's see. I have one question in the chat, actually. I'm going to hit that one first. So it says, do I need to assign each teacher a login and then they put students in? How do students access? Is that like through a web address, etc.?
Yeah, that great question. I think that came from Jamie. Jamie, thank you so much for that question. Wonderful question. So basically, we can work with a single sign-on or an SSO, as many are worried. So whether you're using Clever, ClassLink, and then you don't have to worry about assigning that, and we can automatically just update that within that SSO. Or if you want to do a manual process, we have a team in there. We have a customer success manager that works directly with you to make sure that you can get those logins as needed, and we can align with who your students and your teachers are. So either way that you choose to do it, if you want to do it from a single sign-on option, or if you want to do it in a manual process, we have that available, and we have a team member that'll work directly with you to make sure that that gets done properly. So I hope that answered your question, Jamie.
Awesome. I thought I saw one in our Q&A, but I guess nothing did come through. I thought that I had a little
There was a
notification.
question on how do you log in, and I think you already went through that,
Okay.
Tyler. So I did
Okay,
see that
great.
question come in. So
Cool. That's great. Okay, if anyone else has more questions, please feel free. We can stick around for a minute. But otherwise, yeah, here, I'll give people just a minute and then we can close this out. Brandon, is there anything else that you wanted to be sure to share with our educators today, or anything that you really wanted to hit home before we go?
yeah, Tyler, just wanted to first of all thank you for setting this up, and thank you for the partnership with Scripps. It's obviously an honor for us to be a part of this. Also want to think of the educators, the parents, social workers. I saw counselors, everybody that's in here, librarians that are a part of this, because you're making the impact every day. We just hope to be a small part of helping your students succeed, helping your kids, whoever that might be, to be a part of that. So we are thrilled about this new partnership. We're thrilled about seeing to see what the possibilities of what this is going to bring. So super excited about this. I know there's a couple other questions that I'm seeing Tyler pop up. Want to mention that regional champions get a free subscription for the school. Absolutely. So if you were a regional champion, you get a free subscription. And Tyler, I don't know if you want to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, sure. So yes, along with the free trial for all of our enrolled schools, this past year and this coming year, all of the schools of our regional champions, so the ones that are that go from their regional level to our national competition in Washington, D.C., they will all get a free subscription for their school, which is very exciting. So we will, as those kids start getting, in February and March, as they start emerging victorious from their regional bees, we'll start reaching out about their News-O-Matic prize. Let's see. Yes, I see a couple more in here. Rodner has a question. I have yet to get started with my spelling bee. Advice on how to get started. Okay, great. So if you have already enrolled in the spelling bee program, that's fantastic. I would send you to the school portal that I just showed you. And we have something called the school spelling bee checklist. And that has basically everything delineated on it, from what lists you should use for your classroom and school level bees, to prizing, to what kind of, officials do you need at your school level bee. That's kind of a quick start guide for your school spelling bee program. And then we also have a little more in-depth of a PDF that is called Spelling Bee 101. So that is also a great resource to check out in your school portal. Another question that is very likely for you, Brandon. It says, can a homeschooling family use News-O-Matic?
Yeah, so the answer to that is we do have individual access that can be purchased through that. I don't know if that's part of the special, Tyler. We'll have to figure that out in terms of what
Cool.
that is. But that's something they absolutely can purchase one license for. So we can absolutely, if there is interest on that, just let Tyler or myself know, and we will certainly be in touch with you on that.
Wonderful. Okay, I'll answer one of these questions for spelling bees. So is there a parent letter for students that participate in the program? We are working on finalizing one that will have information about your school spelling bee, blanks that you can fill in about your particular bee, and then also some study tips, what they should study for your school bee included. So keep your eyes on the school portal. We should have that available for you very soon. Let's see. I have another News-O-Matic question. This is nice, just bouncing back and forth. Does News-O-Matic have an app?
We do. What we do, we have an app in there. We do recommend that you use the web browser, okay? Because we haven't put the development really into the app that's going to be available. So we would highly recommend you use a web version of Newsmatic. So you can simply just go on your phone and go to the app.newsomatic.org. That's the easiest way to get there. So I would recommend just sticking that route rather than going the app route.
Awesome. And then I am just going to throw into the chat our partnership page in case anyone has, a specific, want to go back and check some of the things that we chatted through on this webinar. That'll tell you everything about the Bees partnership and the offers and everything that's included. So that is in the chat now. Okay. I think that might be all the questions that we have. I'll leave it for just a second, make sure nobody else is going to jump in. But I do just want to echo Brandon. We so appreciate all of you joining. We're so very excited about this partnership. We think it makes so much sense for our two different brands to get together and see how many schools we can help out through this partnership. So if you have any questions after we get off of here, if you're like, oh, should have asked about this, that, or the other, please know that you can fill out our inquiry form at spellingbee.com/contact, and a member of the Bees customer service team will be in touch. They're fantastic. They answer all inquiries within 24 hours during the school week. So do take advantage of that inquiry form. Even if you have questions about News-O-Matic, we can pass them along. And then of course, if you have any questions about getting access to your free trial and your offer, please do reach out to us, because we are very excited to get this into the hands of as many spelling bee schools as we can. So thank you all again for joining us. We hope you learned something new about News-O-Matic. I know that I did. So thanks a ton, Brandon. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to enroll your school in the Bee program and then take advantage of that free trial offer. All
Thanks,
right.
Tyler.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great evening, everyone.
You too.